Hello guys, and welcome to another episode of Pro Football Maniacs. Today we'll be predicting top 10 quarterbacks for the 2014-2015 season. Hopefully you guys saw our previous video where we predicted quarterbacks 6 through 10, and today we're going to predict quarterbacks 1 through 5. Now, many of you are probably waiting for the season to start and getting your fantasy team ready and hopefully deciding which guy to pick first in the draft. Oh yeah, we all are waiting for that. And especially the Maniacs team, we're just looking forward to the next season and gonna have a blast. Anyway guys, hopefully you guys saw the previous video and hit the like button and subscribed and obviously gave us some feedback in the comments. But let's jump in and let's predict the 5th best quarterback for the next season. Okay, so now we predict that Ben Roethlisberger will be the 5th best quarterback in the 2014-2015 season, so next season. Let's jump into some of his stats. His passing stats. He has 584 attempts, and out of those, he had 375 completions. He passed 4,261 yards and had 28 touchdowns. These stats are from last year's season, and now let's jump into rushing. He had 27 attempts and he ran 99 yards and he had 1 touchdown. Now it's pretty good for a quarterback like him. Pretty old and definitely a lot of Super Bowl rings. Ben Roethlisberger has many targets and great targets. Antonio Brown, Marcus Wheaton, Heath Miller, and Le'Veon Bell. Ben Roethlisberger has been performing great even in the last season, but this couldn't make it last season far enough as they were expecting it to be. But hopefully next season we can see some more improvement by the Steelers and their offense. Okay, so now we predict Drew Brees as being the 4th best quarterback for next season, 2014-2015 season. Drew Brees has led his team so many opportunities, and now having Jimmy Graham back as a Saint, always been one but wasn't happy with his contracts. It's good to have same guy back who has completed many of Drew Brees' passes. So now let's jump into some statistics from Drew Brees' season last year, which was one of the greatest in his career. Passing. He had 650 attempts, and out of those, he completed 446. He passed 5,162 yards, which is a great number and was second best in last year's season. And he had 39 passing touchdowns. That is one good season. And then rushing. He had 35 attempts and 52 yards, and he had 3 touchdowns off of rushing. Not much of a rusher, but it still works. He has many great targets that you hear of. Kenny Stills, Marcus Colston, obviously Jimmy Graham, and Pierre Thomas. Drew Brees is probably going to lead his team to another one of those great opportunities, especially in the playoffs, and hopefully we see something big from him next year, being one of the greatest. We predict Tom Brady as being the 3rd best quarterback for next season. Tom Brady is one of the oldest ones so far, which is active, and definitely a great quarterback. The Patriots have gone so much further with Tom Brady in their hands, and just a great guy and can pass very well and rushing. Let's jump into some stats. Passing. Tom Brady threw 628 passes and completed 380, which is a pretty good number. He passed 4,343 yards, which is a big number and definitely a good number. And he had 25 passing touchdowns. Let's go into rushing. He had 32 attempts and ran 18 yards and had no touchdowns. Not much of a rusher, and I still don't think that he should be rushing much when he has a really good power, which is his throwing. Tom Brady has great targets that you always hear of. Danny Amendola, Julian Edelman, Rob Gronkowski, and Stevan Ridley. Rob Gronkowski just got cleared to play after a foot injury last season, and now he's cleared, which is a great sign for the Patriots and Tom Brady. Okay, so we predict Peyton Manning having the second best season next season. Peyton Manning, being one of the oldest, is still one of the best passers I've seen in NFL history. Peyton Manning set records last year, and he is keeping numbers alive. Last year, Peyton Manning passing, he had 659 attempts and completed 450. Wow, that's a lot. He threw 5,477 yards. That is history, and that will be in the books. And he threw 55 passing touchdowns. Again, in the books. That is just one big number, and what a great number. Rushing, not much of a rusher and not the greatest rusher either. He had 32 attempts and lost 31 yards and had one touchdown. He has targets: Demaryius Thomas, Wes Welker, Monte Ball, and Julius Thomas. All of those guys who you've heard of many times. Peyton Manning gave the Broncos one of the best opportunities last season, but the Broncos defense just couldn't make it, and definitely the offense just couldn't fight against the Seattle defense. Definitely one of the best. But Peyton Manning, a fighter, but he just had to get his team and didn't have enough time to do that. Okay, and last but not least, and who we predict will be the best, is Aaron Rodgers. Coming off an injury and not playing much of last year's season, we still predict Aaron Rodgers to be the best and having the best season. Here's why. First of all, Aaron Rodgers, he is great at both passing and rushing. And rushing is one thing that many quarterbacks need if their passing isn't the best. But Aaron Rodgers, he can pass very well, and he can rush very well. Two of which is great for an NFL quarterback. Not only that, Aaron Rodgers didn't have much of a great record last year. Passing stats, he had 2,536 yards and 290 attempts and completed 193 of those, and had 123 rushing yards and 17 passing touchdowns. Not much again. And then he has great wide receivers and great targets: Jordy Nelson, Randall Cobb, Andrew Corliss, Eddie Lacy. Jordy Nelson being one of the most underrated receivers in the league, but being one of the best. Anyway guys, thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button and subscribe. Thanks.